Today, we will start the Dhammapada story again. We stopped the Dhammapada story since a long time ago, but now we will start the Dhammapada stories again in this verse. But today, Paṭācārā theory, the story of Paṭācārā. Yoja Vasasatan Jiwe Abasan Udaya Bayan Ekahan Jividan Seyo Pasato Udaya Bayan Yama Kana Ngavaru Epipeko Meshu Membe, Nedia Palong Adeshin Nia Gente Kana Ngavaru Epipeko Mabiashumian Bokoi, Deamia Adesia Gendi Miai. Better it is to live one day, seeing the rise and fall of things, than to live as 100 years without ever seeing the rise and fall of things. This Gatha was taught by the Buddha when he was dwelling at Jetavana Monastery in Savatthi city with the reference to Paṭācārā theory. There was one family in Savatthi city. Their family was very rich. They have 400 millions. They are worthy 400 millions. $. They also have one daughter, very beautiful daughter. They took care of their daughter carefully. Then she reached at the age of 16 years. When she had the 16 years of her age, maybe they worry for her daughter. That is why they arrange their daughter to stay at the 7-story building, at the top of 7-story mansion. Is it? 7-story buildings, then at the top, without meeting with any other persons too many. But unluckily, among her servants, there's also one young man, worker. Is it? Then what will happen? She is also 16 years old. That is why one day she committed such a misconduct, such a things, enjoying sexuality with her worker, young man. Although her parents took care of her not to commit with any man, but cannot control their daughter. That is why very difficult to control. If you have daughter, be careful. Ask them to ordain as a Siali. Okay? Then what will happen? Actually, their parent has agreement with the same rich families to marry with their son. Is it? Then what happened? She also know very soon her parents will arrange the wedding ceremony with another man from another rich family, according to her parents' agreement. Then she says she also loves her worker, the slave. Then she says to him, "Oh, my dear, according to my parents' arrangement, I have to marry with another man from another rich family. After marriage, then even you carry a lot of gift to give to me, then they will not allow you to enter into their house. If you love me, then please take me to the other place. We will stay in other place. Then according to her suggestion, then the man also agree. Okay, then how to do? Then he left one day earlier. Then they also make appointment with her. I will go to the outside of the city. Then I will wait there. Then you come there. Then we will go to far away from the Savatthi city. Then they made appointment. Then he left from the house quietly without others' knowledge. Then 1 day later, the rich person's daughter from rich family also, she wear very dirty robe. She also smear her body with the rice powder, etc. Then her body become dirty. She also break her hair, scatter her hair, spread out her hair to pretend like the slave, female slave. Then took one water pot. Then together with the slave, female slave, then she also went out of her house. Then she went to the place where there's an appointment. In this way, when they meet each other, then they run away from the Savatthi city. Then they stay in one place, one village, around 3 years now away from Savatthi city. Then rich, daughter from rich family become poor now. Why? Because of attachment, because of craving towards her slave, worker. Then the worker, slave, can do only, like making the farmer. He became farmer. Then he also find the firewood to sell. This is his business. Then they also stay in this village by doing such kinds of work for their livelihood. Then after some time, what happened? After some times, husband and wife stay together. Then got baby in her womb. Then baby became bigger and bigger after about 10 months. Then nearly gave birth, baby from her womb. At that time, she remember her parents again. Is it? Then, she dare not to give birth in this village. She will experience a lot of suffering if she gave birth the baby in this village without any relatives. Then when she remember her parents, okay, my parents, mine are very gentle, very soft towards their daughter. Sure, then I have to give birth the baby in my parents' house. I have to return to my parents' house. Then she also discussed with her husband. Then what will happen? Her husband disagree with her idea. Why? If I return to your parents' house, they will kill me. You want me to kill? They will kill me. You want me to die? Then he disagreed. Then finally, her decided herself. Okay, she will return to her parents' house to give the child, to give her the baby. When he went to the forest for a walk, at that time she asked one neighbor, okay, then I will go to my parents to give us the baby in my parents' house. When he returned to the house, then please informed him, I returned to my parents' house to get back the baby. Then she went to her parents' house. At that time, what will happen? Okay, her husband returns to the house. Then he couldn't see his wife. Then he also asked the neighbor. The neighbor people says she returned to her parents' house to give birth the baby. Then he also immediately followed her. Then he reached on the way to Savatthi city in the forest. Then very soon, the baby, she wished to give birth the baby on the way. Then, okay, now I cannot control. The baby will come out from my belly, is it? Then she went to the bush and she lied down and gave birth the baby under the bushes. Okay, after giving birth the baby, she decided, okay, now I return to my parents' house to give birth the baby. Now baby already come out, already give up the baby. I don't need to return to my parents' house. Then they return to their village again. They stay together like before. Then after sometimes, maybe after 10 months or 1 year or 2 years, then she got pregnancy again, another baby in her womb. The same way, she also thought, I will return to my parents' house to give birth the baby. The same way, she discussed with her husband, disagreed. Then she returned to her parents' house alone, taking her child, her sons. The same way, husband also followed his wife. Then his wife to the Savatthi city. Then on the way to Savatthi city, he reached his wife. Then what happened? The same way, she wished to give her baby on the way. She couldn't control. At that time, there was also very heavy rain at that time. Heavy rain and heavy strong wind. Because of this reason, then their body was wet with the water, a lot of rain water. Under the rain, she wished to give birth. Then you understand how they experienced this suffering. Then finally, she asked her husband to make a kind of small hut with a leaf or branches. Then her husband went to the forest to find the branches or a kind of wood to make small hut to cover his wife to give birth the child. Then she also remained in one place with her son. Her son also still very young, but can go himself. When he was searching for the branches or leaf to make the small hut, then what happened? On the ant hill, he saw one maybe branches. Then trying to take the branches to cut with a knife. At that time, poisonous snake, cobra, come out from the ant hill. Then he was also angry. Why? Water from his body fall down. Then maybe the snake smell and he get angry. Then he bit him. Then what happened? Immediately his body became brown color, black color. Then he fell down near the ant hill. Then he died. Then the lady also, what happened? The lady was waiting her husband to return, but he didn't return. He didn't come back. Then finally, she gave birth another child, another baby in this place under the rainfall, under the rain, very heavy rain. Then you see, very suffering because of Tanna, craving. Then what happened? Then she took care of her this newly baby and also her son together. Then they wait her husband to come back. Then finally her husband didn't come back, although the sun rose up. Then in the morning, early in the morning, she decided, okay, your father didn't come back. He went to this road, this way. Then we can go and find. We will go and find your father. Then taking her 2 children, then she went to the way where her husband went. Then finally she found her husband dying with a stiff body and also black body. Bye poisonous snake. Then she cried a lot because of me. My husband passed away bitten by a snake in this way. Then finally cannot do anything. Then they continue to go to the Savatthi city to go to her parents' house. Because of heavy rains, with the 2 babies, under the very heavy rain with the strong wind, then what will happen? A lot of suffering in the samsara. Then on the way to Savatthi city, she reached the Ajiravati river. Then she need to pass the Ajiravati rivers to go to her parents' house in the Savatthi city. There are also water in the Ajiravati river. Actually, not so deep. In some places up to knee, some places up to waist, some places up to maybe chest. In this way, a little bit, full of water in the river. Then when she reached the rivers to cross the river, then with the 2 children, she dared not to cross the river. So, why? At that time, she couldn't decide properly how to do. Then finally, she decided, actually, if she decides together with her 2 babies, cross the rivers, bank of the other river, then she can pass the river successfully. But at the time, she couldn't decide properly. That is why she decided wrongly. She asked her elder sons to wait in this bank of river. Then she decided to bring her, newly born sons to send to the other bank of river. Then she passed the river with the newly born baby. Then when she reached the other side, then she find 1 branches and put the newly born baby on the leaf, on the branches. Then she returns to the other bank of river to take her elder sons again. At that time, what happened? Hawk saw newly born baby with the red color. Then what happened? Maybe this is a slice of meat. Then fell down from the sky to take the baby. At that time, the mother was at the middle of the river. Then she also saw the hawk as fallen down, coming down to take her newly born son. Then at that time she shouted loudly by, snipping her finger. Is it 2 fingers? But, the hawk does not care. Then took the newly born baby and flew away. At that time, when she shouted loudly and slapped her hands together, The other son who is waiting on the other bank of river heard, okay, he thought his mother is calling him. Then he also immediately jumped into the river. Then what happened? Then sank into the water and then float away. Goes away under the downstreams. Then he also died in the river. Then 2 sons died. Last night her husband died. Now her 2 sons died because of this reason. Then she crossed the river and went to the Savatthi city by crying a lot. Because of me, my husband also died. 2 of my son also died. Then she cried a lot. She feels a lot of suffering. She has a lot of sorrow and sadness in her mind. Then on the way to her parents' house, Savatthi city, she also met one man. Then she asked, where did you come from? I come from the Savatthi city. Do you know one rich family in this road? Yeah. Don't ask about this family. Why? Then, okay, she also want to know what happened. I don't want to say about this family, but you are asking me too much. Then I will tell you. You know, last night there was heavy rain. Sure, I know. Then, okay, in the heavy rain and strong wind, you know, their family's house fell down, and they also died under the breaking of the house. Oh, you know, they died under the heavy rain and strong wind last night. You see here, smoking are coming up from the cemetery. That means 2 mother, father, and son, 3 dead bodies together, or burned by the fire in the cemetery, and 1 fire wood for cremation. Only in 1 fire wood, they burn. She realized, my parents and my younger brother died last night. Then at that time, what happened? She goes crazy. She went mad, instant. Then, you know, already she was very sad because of passing away of her husband and 2 sons. But now, 2 of her parents also, younger brother also passed away last night. So she has no relatives anymore. Then what will happen? She became crazy immediately. Then at that time she also cried a lot. Even her clothes fell down from her body. She does not realize. She didn't realize. Then became naked body. Then she ran away by crying here and there. How she cried? By reciting 1 stanza. Ubo Paṭācārā gata pante meshan badimato mata Paṭācārā Paṭācārā eka jitami desare. Ubo Paṭācārā gata. 2 of my sons also passed away last night. Pante meshan badimato. My husband also died on the way to Savatthi city. Mata Paṭācārā Paṭācārā eka jitami desare. My mother, father, and brother also burned in the same fire wood in the cemetery. Cremation place in this way. Then by reciting this stanza, then she cried a lot. Also, many people saw her with a very dirty body. Is it? Also without clothes in her body. Then whoever meet her, then they also say, oh, this is Ummatika. The lady is a mad, the lady is insane, The lady is a crazy. Then what will happen? Sometimes the young children, they also throw the rubbish away on this lady. Sometimes with the stone, etc. Then he feels a lot of suffering. She feels a lot of suffering. She experiences a lot of suffering. Then one day what will happen? The Buddha was given the Dhamma talk at the Savatthi city. She also went to this place actually. Then because of the Buddha's power, the Buddha saw her suffering and she have already fulfilled the 10 paramis for 100,000 eons, 100,000 world cycles. She is actually one of the great disciples of the Buddha. Is it? But because of maybe craving, because of tanha, then she experienced a lot of suffering in this way. Then finally, when the Buddha was given the Dhamma talks to the audience at the Savatthi city, she, because of the Buddha's power, then she also came to this place with naked body. Then she tried to enter into this audience. Then many people, some men from the audience who are listening to the Buddha's Dhamma, then they also prevented the lady. Okay, this lady is a Paṭācārā. Why she is called Paṭācārā? She go here and there by shouting, you know, my son also passed away, my husband also passed away, my parents and my brother also passed away, something like this. By shouting in this way, by crying in this way, she go around the country here and there. That is why she is called Paṭācārā. There may be her original name, but it does not mention here. But because of this reason, her name became Paṭācārā. Is it? She has already fulfilled the 10 paramis for 100,000 world cycles. That is why finally she came to the Buddha. The Buddha also knows she is coming here. When the people prevent her not to come to the Buddha, at that time the Buddha asked, don't prevent her, please allow her to come here. Then she immediately came to the Buddha with the Buddha's power. Then when she saw the Buddha and she paid homage to the Buddha respectfully, then the Buddha also reminded her, Satain Patilabha Bhagini, Satain Patilabha Bhagini. Be careful, my sister. Actually, usually use Bhagini, here maybe daughter from the Buddha, is it? Be careful, be mindful, Bhagini, my sister or my daughter. The Buddha reminded her. At that time, she became conscious. Then she also respectfully paid homage to the Buddha and please be my refuge, Bhante. Or she also requested the Buddha. Then she also reposed to the Buddha like what she recited. Bhante, two of my son also passed away. My husband also passed away on the way to Savatthi city. My parents also passed away. My younger brother also passed away. All of my relatives are passed away. Then she also cried a lot in front of the Buddha. Then the Buddha said, what happened? The Buddha preached the Paṭācārā. Paṭācārā machinti tawa danandarana avado buito. Then what will happen? Now, when you are crying, the tears are coming out from your eyes. Because you are crying, passing away all your sons and husband, your son, husband and your parents. Then tears coming out from your eyes. Such kinds of tears are more than the water in the four great oceans. The Buddha says, one stanza to her. Then what will happen? Because of the Buddha's the Dhamma, then her sorrow, sadness become less. The Buddha also understands this one. Then The Buddha continued to give 2 stanzas to her. Na Santi Buddha Danaya Na Pita Nabi Bandawa Andage Na Dipanasa Nati Nyadisu Danata Eda Mata Wasan Nyadawa Pandito Sila Samudo Nebana Gamana Megan Kaipa Mewa Wisode. Oh, the Buddha says these 2 stanzas to her. What is the meaning? Here you can see it. For him who is assailed by death, there is no protections by casement. None there are to save him, no sons, nor father, nor relatives. Realizing this fact, let the wise man restrained by morality hastens to clear the path leading to Nibbana. You know, everybody will experience the death. When we die, you have son, you have husband, you have parents, you have relatives. They cannot be your refuge. They cannot help you. Is it? I will die instead of you. Please be alive. Nobody will help you. Nobody can help you. You will die. Is it? That is why when you go to future life, after death, nobody will be helpful for you. By realizing this, then you should restrain the morality. Based on morality, you should go to find the ways to realize Nibbana as fast as possible, as quick as possible. The Buddha said these 2 stanzas to Paṭācārā. Then after listening to these 2 stanzas, then she became Sotapanna. Oh, is it? Oh, before listening to this Dhammapada, okay, when the Buddha reminded her to be careful, at that time she became conscious, then she also became ashamed with the naked body. At that time, you see, she sat down. Then one man understood. Then he also shared one clothes to her. Then she wear the clothes on her body. Then the Buddha preached these 2 stanzas to her. Then she became Sotapanna. Paṭācārā became Sotapanna. After becoming Sotapanna, she also requested the Buddhas to be bhikkhuni in the Buddha's dispensation. Then the Buddha also asked the bhikkhunis to have her ordination in the bhikkhunis nunnery. Then finally she became bhikkhuni in the bhikkhunis nunnery. Then one day, when she was practicing meditation, then before going to her kuti, then she washed her feet with the water. When she poured the water, then water goes a little bit, then stop there. Then next time she also poured with another cup of water on her feet to wash her feet. Then also the water go a little bit further than previous water. In the same way, with the third cup of water, she also washed her feet. Then water go a little bit longer than before. Then at that time, she was practicing meditation, reflecting on vipassana by seeing this. All beings, some beings die in their first age. You know, their young age. 3 ages of the human being. The first age, the young age, middle age, and old age. Oh, like the first water. Some beings die in the middle age, like the second water. Some beings will probably die at the old age. They cannot overcome. They will die. If they don't die in the young age or middle age, they will probably die at their old age. Like the third water. Is it? Third water. Then when she was reflecting on in this way, then she became Arahanta together with analytical knowledges. when she was contemplating in this way, then the Buddha also understood, or she is contemplating vipassana by watching the water. Then the Buddha released her light, okay, her light to her. Then the Buddha recited one stanza. The stanza here. You know, Yocha wasa zatan jiwe abbasan udaya bayan eka jivitan seyo pasato udaya bayan. Better it is to live one day seeing the rise and fall of things than to live as 100 years without ever seeing the rise and fall of things. The Buddha recited this stanza. This stanza is very clear. Some person, one person is living for 100 years without contemplating vipassana, without any vipassana knowledge. They don't see the arising and perishing or formation. Is it? But they live for 100 years. But another person is living only one day or one moment. But he or she practice vipassana up to Udayabhaya Jnana state. She can discern Nama, Rupa, as they really are paying attention, they are rising and perishing. Then he or she reach up to Udayabhaya Jnana Vipassana knowledge stage. Then this person is living is better than the other person is living, although the other person is living for 100 years. Oh, this is the meaning of this stanza. Then at the end of the stanza, the Paṭācārā became Arahanta together with Paṭisampita, analytical knowledges. Okay, then the other also become Sotapanna, etc. Oh, this is the story of Paṭācārā Bhikkhuni. She have already fulfilled 10 paramis to become Vinayadhara. She is the foremost among many bhikkhunis. She is the foremost. He is the greatest one in Vinaya. Vinaya expert among the many bhikkhuni, because she fulfilled the 10 paramis to be like such kinds of bhikkhuni in the Buddha's dispensation. Then finally she became Arahanta together with Paṭisampita knowledges. By listening to the story of Paṭācārā, be careful not to follow the cravings. Okay, not to follow the tanha craving. Then you will experience suffering like Paṭācārā. But when you listen to the Dhamma from the Buddha, then you can also become Sotapanna, etc. like Paṭācārā. When you practice vipassana, then there will be many persons who will help you to realize Nibbana, to attain higher and higher attainment. Then finally you can also become Arahanta like Paṭācārā. Then may you be able to practice to attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idhame punya asawakaya wahang hodu idhame punya Nibbanasa pecayo hodu mama punya bhagam sabha sadanang pajemi te sabe me sama punya bhagam labandu sadhu sadhu sadhu.